Welcome. Let's see, there we go. Okay. Welcome to Yarnaholics Anonymous. This is going to take some getting used to. So, my name is Jen. And so welcome to new viewers and welcome to those, or welcome back to those who have watched along before. Thank you for joining us. We love everyone that comes and takes their time to kind of get stay up to date with what we're up to over in our little corner of the internet. My name is Jen. I am the indie dyer behind the Perfect Stitch Fibre Co. You can see yarn in the background just because who doesn't want to stare at yarn all the time? I know that's my favorite when I'm watching podcasts. I love when there's yarn in the background and I'm just like, oh, I could just stare over there. Anyhow, today, let's see. So today we're going to be discussing, it's been 2 years since our last video. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an update, like a life update / businessy update. We are going to be discussing current whips in progress, aka we're all about the shawls right now, and that's about it. I will also I might show you my Stephen West shawls just because there's one of those on the needles and you'll see shortly. But first we are going to be discussing life updates, and if you don't, if you want to skip ahead, I'm going to put in the notes the timers, so you can just speed ahead if you want to go ahead, skip ahead to the knitting, and that's okay. I don't hate you for that. But if you want to catch up with me for a little bit, I'm going to try and keep it short. All right, guys, so quick life update. In the last 2 years, let's see, we have done homeschool, then we switched to virtual school. My husband, he quit his job. So as some of you know, he was a car salesman, and we saw that going like not well with the pandemic and everything, just because parts, like the chips that were not, there was going to be a shortage. We learned quickly that there would be no new cars being made for a specific brand that he was selling. And their dealership had chose to not pay more for used cars. And that was kind of the going rate at the time. So we saw it not going well. And so after discussing and figuring out what was going to be good for our family, he decided he was going to put in his 2 weeks notice, while also he was going to Africa. So he went back to Somalia to visit his family. And so he was there about a month. And then when he came back, he enrolled in a trucking school, or a technical school, but with a focus on trucking. And so he did that and graduated with the CDL, and he got some sponsorships. No, that doesn't sound right. They're the extras, and I can't think of it right now because it's been a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. So he's now a long haul trucker. So he's gone 5 days out of the week, which means we get extra knitting time, or I get less knitting time. I haven't quite worked that out. Let's see. So he's now doing that. So that's been a fun adventure. There's been a lot just going on. Like that's how it goes. I feel like I haven't done these in so long either. And I haven't overly shared over on Instagram what was kind of going on. I did with a couple people. I think I mentioned that we were doing career changes. Anyway, that brings us kind of up to present. Except my oldest son, he got to go back to full-time school, you know, in between homeschool virtual and then partial virtual and partial there. And then at the end of last year, they got to go back for a few weeks where they were full-time. And that was amazing, actually. And then this year, you know, they've continued, although all the going to school has been a struggle. Getting to go around, let me back up. So some of you know how, like, I suffer from anxiety. I think some do. I know I've talked with some of you about it, but I suffer from anxiety. It depends, you know, the stress level on how it's going. But my oldest son also suffers from severe anxiety. He has like sensory issues. And so when school started, it was a struggle. He also does a dual language program, and they switched, so it was different. So he started the new school year, I should say, and they switched, so it was math in Spanish and reading in English. And that really just was that he didn't like his teacher because she was so hard, and she's a really nice lady. You know, they gave us the option, like, does he want to do Spanish? But he didn't want to quit. So we're continuing with that, which is good. But a lot of the beginning of the school year was we were trying to get him caught up, get him in class, because he missed probably 3 weeks straight because of his anxiety was, the symptoms were symptoms that also would double for COVID. And so then we had to, you know, get him tested before he could go back, which was awful. It eventually got to that point where we, you know, contacted his doctor. We found out he has sleep apnea. It's the other thing. Gosh, there was a lot going on. He had his tonsils removed around Christmas. Well, it was right before Christmas. He started playing basketball. And he played with friends from school on a team, but with friends from school, which has been good. That has helped a lot. And then I signed my youngest up for gymnastics, which has been fun, and then both of them up for soccer for the spring. So we are finally coming to a close on soccer. Basketball ended a couple months ago, right before soccer started. What else? Oh yeah, I'm on the job hunt kind of thing. Don't worry, the Perfect Stitch Fibre Company is not going anywhere, but I kind of have ideas for multiple streams of revenue, and so I'm just kind of changing things up. So I am on the hunt for a full-time job. I'm still going to be doing the Perfect Stitch Fibre Company. It's just not, you know, it's probably going to be about the same. When I'd originally started this company, I had a 5-year plan, and COVID really took a hit on that, just because I didn't have the mental capacity to be able to try and market the yarns. And that was okay, you know, that was where I was at. I was still dying, but I think I probably took a break for a little bit of it, just because I couldn't. Trying to homeschool and do virtual school with a child who doesn't want to do school at all, and you end up fighting the whole day, is really, it's a struggle. But, you know, we made it through to the other side. And so now I'm like, well, I think I'll find a full-time job and have this be like, because what it's merged to is, during the week, I am Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, preschool days, and my nephew comes over and I watch him. And so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Friday, I do my workouts, I work on content, I film reels, or videos. I try and plan out social media. So I spend maybe a few hours during the week. Now that's not to say I don't spend more doing other stuff. Like dyeing yarn obviously is going to take more time. And oh my goodness, you can't even see the yarn. I have a pile of yarn. And I just realized you can't even see it because I have a project in the way. See? Pile of yarn. Yeah. Anyway, so I spend time with that. But I decided, I'm like, well, that's more of a part-time kind of gig. And so why not look for something that's full-time, since my youngest is going to be going to kindergarten. I'm going to have time. I don't really want to find something that is away from my house. So I'm looking for a job that is work from home. I've done this before. And so I'm really looking forward to kind of the new beginnings that are happening. It just seems like there's a lot of movement that has been taking place in the last year that's kind of led up to this. And I'm very excited for it. Maybe a little nervous, but I'm excited for it. All right. So that will be hopefully sometime soon. Yeah. All right. We're going to be moving along into our whips, and we're going to be discussing shawls. I'm going to say a lot because I feel really awkward because it's been a while since I've done this. And if you watch the last one, I bet I say the same thing. It wouldn't surprise me. We are going to be discussing my whips. Let's see. All right. So, first up, it's not in a bag. What is in a bag? Throwing stuff. Starry Night. Project bag from the Steady Hand. Is that right? Nope, the Silver Shed. From the Silver Shed. Now, if you follow on Instagram, you saw that I went to the Van Gogh exhibit in Seattle, and I loved it. It was amazing. It was fun. The kids really enjoyed. There's kind of an interactive, I don't even know if I can explain it. But they have the different, it's like a video that's playing on the walls, and it just kind of moves and transforms through the different paintings. It's really cool. So the kids loved that. And they also loved, they got to do the VR, virtual reality kind of tour. And I'm not entirely sure what exactly that entails, but they really loved it, and they thought it was the coolest thing. They got to be in the paintings, so I'm like, that's kind of cool. And I had a super proud mama moment because they knew, oh, that's Starry Night when we were in there. And I'm like, I want them to be cultured. So I do my best. Okay. Anyway, so in the Starry Night bag, which I had switched for that purpose, oh dear. We have the Breathe and Hope shawl. And I think it's an enchilada. And I believe this was made by Little Bitty Designs. I don't know for sure that that's correct. I wanted an enchilada, and she made me a chicken enchilada. Now I want enchiladas. Anyway, this is the Breathe and Hope shawl. I made a huge mistake on it. And I realized, so here we have striping going on, which is pretty cool. And then this section is...
You use code.
Not right now.
It give you free...
No, it doesn't. Maybe it does. Well, that's the time to take a picture. Or have to take a picture.
Sorry about that. All right. So, and then it has this striping section, and then it has kind of the slip stitches. I love this. It's like ribbing, but I like that section. And then, is this the one I screwed up on? I can't even tell. Yes. So you might not be able to tell, there's like a purl ridge like right here. And then I essentially somehow managed to screw up the pattern for this section. I had like the slip stitches right, but it's supposed to actually look like garter. I'll show you. So it's actually supposed to be more like this, all of this here, and I didn't do that. And so when I'm to that point, I'm like, well, I don't really like that. I really liked how it was looking down here. Sorry, they're gonna be loud. But so I made major mistakes on this. I want it done, and then I don't want it done. But I mean, I've made it this far, and so it's kind of one of those, why wouldn't you finish it? So this was using the Unicorn Party, I think that's what it was called, and it was my birthday colorway. And then there is a sock blank as the other one, the purple, and it pairs really well, and I love that. But I might rip it back, I don't know. Time will tell. I mean, it's probably just going to stay in hibernation for a while, a long while. I have to go soon. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the eyeball shawl, which is a Steve & West pattern. Oh, who does the Breathe and Hope shawl? Casapinka, I believe, is the designer behind the Breathe and Hope shawl. So now we have the eyeball shawl. Okay. If you didn't know you needed a giant eyeball as a shawl, I'm here to tell you, you just might. This has been on the needles for a while. So it started out, I had the green. I love the green, you know. So I have that. I have this black, which has undertones of blue, like the turquoise or aqua. And then to begin with, I started out with Oreo Funfetti Cupcake. And I love this, and it was on silk, and I think it was silk and cashmere. Well, I ran out. I ran out of the yarn for this. And I was like, oh no. So I had ordered some, but I don't know if it was either it was not the right yarn or they had reconfigured it. Either way, it was thinner and it just wasn't right. And then the color didn't match correctly. And so it just looked awful. And I was like, I'm going to rip this out, but I don't know what I'm going to do. So it sat in hibernation for a while. Then I decided, oh, I want to do Bad Habits because I love Bad Habits. And it's so pretty. And there's pinks and yellows and blues. But then when I'm knitting it up, it was very heavy on the pink. And I was like, this looks more like it could be Pink Habits. So these were dyed at the same time. Okay. Except I feel like Pink Habits totally took more of the pink. So then that's why I was like, it's more, like you can tell there, like where there should be more of the white, it's more pink. And I love it, but I was like, this isn't what I was going for. I was going for more of the white, and it just wasn't showing up like that. So I finally was like, you know what? I'm gonna rip back because why do it? And then I settled on Flatten the Curve. So Flatten the Curve was from my pandemic collection, so 2 years ago, and I totally went all neon. So here's Flatten the Curve. And I love Flatten the Curve. It's just fun and neon. So I love that. And it's going to be good. It's going to be awesome. It's totally the shawl that you didn't know you needed. And it makes it better when it's in neons because why wouldn't you want neons? So I am making my way. I'm making my way through this section, and then I'll do this on the other side, I'll do the same thing. So hopefully I will get this finished sometime. Because it's kind of been on the needles a really long time. But I did get further with this section than I did with Bad Habits. So, I mean, there's that. So, those are my whips. Other than blankets, and we don't include those because why would we include those? So, yeah, I've got those. And let's just talk about, we need to normalize. We need to talk about this. So we need to normalize how it's okay to rip back. Like, you may be working your way through a project and then you're like, I hate this, or this isn't right. That was me with Bad Habits. I was knitting it and I'm like, you know, it's okay. And the colors were fine. You know, it's very spring, but that wasn't the look I was going for. I was really wanting just like it to be speckled, but like barely speckled. So then I was like, well, you have 2 skeins of Flatten the Curve in your stash, so you may as well just use that. So I was like, all right, I'm doing that. Get it done. Did I lose knitting time? Well, I mean, I did have to rip back. And did I lose out the hours? I mean, if you look at it that way, I choose to look at, I'm getting to knit it multiple times. So in this case, I've knit it like 3 times. And I'm very excited about that. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, you are going to get to see our West Knits Mystery Cal shawls. We have 3 of them, and that's all. All right, now it's time for some shawl talk. So, as you guys know, kind of obsessed with Stephen West designs. So I think the first shawl I ever made was the Hitchhiker. Right? So this was the first shawl I think I made. That might not be right. I also made the campside, but I gifted that. Yeah. Anyway, then I started down the rabbit hole. Maybe it was this. I don't know. Now I'm not sure. So either it was around the same time. So the first Stephen West Designs shawl that I did was Exploration Station, which is super pretty. None of these are yarns I dyed. The mint is Casual Fashion Queen. Is that right? Yeah. And it's the mint graffiti, I want to say. And then I don't remember what the gray or the purple, or I think the white is like a Bear BFL or something. Yeah. Other than that, I don't remember. So the gray and the purple, I don't remember. But I have my Exploration Station, which was the mystery knit along from, oh, I don't remember, some year. Also, I'm really sorry. They're going to be really loud because it's after school. Next up, we have my Doodler. So my Doodler, can you tell I'm really drawn to speckles and then teal? This currently is in a finished state. However, I actually think I'm going to, where did I go? Oh, I don't remember. I think I decided on this hot pink. So like this. So there's supposed to be an edge to it. And I love this. I love the striping. But there's supposed to be an edge. And I think I'd done like a razzle. I think it was darker than this though, like a bit darker and maybe a little bit more red. But I didn't like it because I wanted it to be bright and fun. So then I got to thinking, I'm like, I could do a hot pink because there's a trend here. I love hot pink. So yeah. there we go. So we have the Doodler, which, why do I want to say it was like 2015, but I don't know that that's right. Because I feel like Exploration Station was 2014. But that was like almost 10 years ago, and that can't be right. Can it? You guys tell me. Maybe. Yeah. So I love the size of this, and it's kind of like a shrug, which I like. But part of me just wants to have a finished, like completely finished. Oh, and then this like teal color is Countess Ablaze. And then the speckles, rainbow speckles, is from, oh shoot, Firefly Fibre Arts. I don't know if that's correct. She was out of Canada. I have no idea if she's still dying, actually. I wonder. I don't know. That was a while ago. I think I made this 7 years ago, 8 years ago? 7, 6? I have no idea. Oh my gosh, guys. Wait, no. So this couldn't have been 15. It could have been 15. My son was born in 2016. Pretty sure that I worked on Exploration Station, which was the one from the year before. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it is almost, yeah. All right, continuing on, now that I've pointed out just how old some of these designs are. Good job for Stephen West. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have the Exploration Station, we have the Doodler. We have, do I have that part? Baskets and baskets. I don't know if it's in here. I don't think it is. Where would that be? Okay. Let me put this back. Okay. So this was next. So I believe, does anyone remember this shawl? I didn't finish it. It was the next year. So the 2016 Mystery Cow. And I hated all these ends. And I think I had started to see how it was going to turn out. And I was like, I don't like that. I'm not making that. So I didn't. So this is what I have. It was in silks. Silk cashmere. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I think I used Oreo Funfetti in this. Anyway, moving on. This can't even be all of them. Oh, you know what? That's not 2016. That must be like 18? Because there was the building blocks shawl, and I have no idea when that was, but that was a cool one. I haven't made that. It's on my list. 13, 15, 16, 17, I don't, Starflake is in there, and I really want to make that, but I haven't done it yet. And it's massive, and I didn't have 2 of, like 4 skeins, 2 of each color. I didn't have that on hand at the time. So yeah, we're gonna move on, because I don't want to bore you with all of it. But okay, can we just point out, if I chose to do Exploration Station as one of my first shawls, you can definitely try anything. All right, so here is Slipstravaganza, and it has that honeycomb. There's ribbing. I believe this is like a ribbing type. And then the window panes. What is that section? Slip stitches, I guess. And then the chevron. So I love this. It's huge. It's massive. It's amazing. I just love it. Okay, so that was 2020s. This is 2021. Now this is Shawlography, and I love the colors that I chose. It is also massive, although not as massive as Slipstravaganza. But I do love the like this is probably my favorite section. Okay, I made a lot of mistakes on this one. When I say a lot, I mean like a lot. Like I did this section and that was fine. I believe I started on this next section, which is like these triangle kind of deals, and I'm pretty sure I messed up on it. And then I had to rip back and then redo it. And then I messed up majorly on the loops. So we have these loops. These loops. I messed up so bad on those. Like I had half of the loops that there was supposed to be. Because I didn't actually, nope, it was not good. So this was a labor of love. When I say it was a labor of love, I mean it. This is a fun section, and I don't think I messed up on it. I'm going to say that, and then I'll probably look at it and be like, oh, nope, I did. No, I didn't. Okay. And then we have these, like, the welts. And then where I really messed up. And I didn't realize I messed up until I blocked it. They're gonna be really loud. So I'm gonna cut this really short soon. I'm gonna cut it soon. Yeah, so after I talk about this. So this is like this geometric. Now the problem is, think of when you're doing color work and you have to carry the yarn. See how that's like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell. It sucks it in. It needs to be stretched out. It can't be stretched out. I need to reknit it. I was considering like doing surgery. Maybe I'll show you like this. Okay. So floats. When you are doing floats, you're supposed to make sure you leave enough so it's not like bringing it in and cinching it in, right? But that's exactly what happened. So it's cinching it in. And so what ends up happening when my sunglasses are falling off. Okay. Now I'm gonna look like a crazy mess. Okay. So it doesn't, because of this section, it's like it pillows. And it doesn't, it sucks it in. You can tell. See, it's that where it sucks in like right there. And this part, it's like, it's too tight. So it curves behind it, right? So you can see that, it curves behind it. And then when the rest, it's like, whew. So that's unfortunate. But I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I might, I've considered throwing needles in both sides and then redoing it. But I don't know. I'm sure that everyone is gonna be like, it's fine. But I mean, to just hang as art, yeah, it's beautiful. But wearing it, it's not my favorite to wear. Definitely my favorite to wear is Slipstravaganza. Okay, we're gonna call it for today. Thank you for joining in. I'm probably gonna go edit. I have some stuff to edit. I am working on my website, trying to include, I'm working on including a welcome video, and I'm hoping to kind of explain what kind of a shop we are, because I get a lot of like, are you a brick and mortar store? Where are you located? And unfortunately, even though I have a wall of yarn, it's not a brick and mortar store. I wish, that'd be amazing, but I'm not. So thank you for joining me. we will hopefully be doing this again soon. I feel like I was going to actually discuss something though. Oh, the mistakes. Okay. If I could impart any wisdom on anyone, it is you can knit anything. Even if you make mistakes, it is okay to rip back. It can feel a little scary sometimes, but you know what? You end up being a better knitter, or maybe just a better mistake fixer. I drop stitches all the time now, and I don't panic because I've had to pick up a lot of stitches, a lot of drop stitches. It's a few, I have kids, so a lot of times they will jump on my projects, or they'll get tangled in yarn, and then the yarn starts pulling, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, that got a lot easier when I just accepted, and I was like, you know what, it's okay, I can just fix it. So you can fix all of your projects. You don't have to be perfect at all. That goes for life. You don't have to be perfect. Perfection isn't attainable anyway. I think they're calling it. So have a wonderful day. I hope you are feeling rested. I would love to be rested right now. I'm going to go do editing and probably yard work. So, oh, we have soccer. I don't know. We'll see what I get done. Have an amazing day. Don't forget to knit for 20 minutes or crochet. Don't forget to yarn for 20 minutes.